Music.
Alrighty, welcome to another episode of On the Clock, your Just Baseball College and MLB Draft podcast. I'm Jared. That's Tyler. We are back for some 2026 MLB Draft talk. We got a lot to cover. Tyler's been out at USA Collegiate National Team. He's been at area code games. He's been everywhere. We're going to get into a lot of that, like Striker Pents. We're going to get into Jacob Lombard versus Grady Emerson. We're going to go through some of his favorite hitters and pitchers that we saw there. But first, Tyler, how you doing? How's life? How's it going?
Well, I mentioned this pregame basically. I can see my sunburn in the camera here. If anybody wants to know how bad the sun was in LA, it cooked my butt. So, but overall, doing well, having fun. Like, jet lag hasn't kicked my tail just yet. So, we'll see if that changes in the next couple of days. But excited to finally start talking some ball here and getting really deep into the 2026 class.
Yeah, and it's never too early to talk about the next draft class. That's what we've learned in our days.
Never.
Well, let's get into the area code games to start. We have to kick it off with the phenom Striker Pens. Sitting 99 to 100 as a 16-year-old. Talk about that and what that experience was like.
It's both like, it's historic, but then you're also like terrified.
Yes.
And that's not like to say, terrified in if I was a batter, I would absolutely crap my pants and then go home to my mommy and cry. It's more of I am very worried about this kind of profile moving forward, because if he doesn't reclass, I have a strong feeling that he may not make it to 2028's draft. I really don't. Because the human body, just at that age too, it's not fully developed.
Still developed, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really tough to project on him, A, throwing that hard, and B, staying healthy when the body isn't fully developed. Now, I'm not going to be like some of our commenters that were like TJ incoming. I like, it does irk me a little bit, but you guys do have a point on this one. I will say, this is definitely one where I'm sitting here just because of the age, just because how hard he's already throwing. It's very much terrifying to see what it looks like in a couple years if he doesn't reclass. Now, I will say this much: if he does reclass, I feel like it's probably 2027, which is fine. However, if he reclasses 2026, I feel like there's a bit more of a deeper high school arms class this year than we've had in previous years. And I kind of wonder, if he reclasses this year in some fashion, where does he fit in? I don't think he's a top arm, unfortunately, even if he is 99 to 100 like he was. But, just to talk about that, like, jaw on floor laughing when we saw the 100 pop up. And he hit it 8 times.
That's insane.
I don't think this kid has his driver's license, by the way. The biggest thing was, it was 99 to 100. He had a really, really good feel to spin the baseball. It was like 2,700 RPMs on the fastball.
That's nuts.
Granted, yes, it's efforty. It looks like a reliever. That's kind of what makes me think even if he reclasses to 26, it's not the top arm on the prep side. Because like, if he reclasses this year, it'd be like a JUCO route, like Cam Collier. But the slider is plus. It's a mid-80s sweeper at like 83, 86 with just absolutely diabolical shape. He has feel for a power changeup. Like, if you're telling me that this was a draft eligible guy as, an 18-year-old, I believe you. No, he's 16. But again, it's like, as impressive as that was, that's something I've never seen before. And it's historic for a guy of that age to be throwing that hard. It is genuinely terrifying to see how this kind of shapes out in a couple of years if he doesn't reclass. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Quite literally the most like insane outing probably of the whole week in terms of just watching the kid pitch and what he had in the arsenal. I will say, guys were kind of sitting on the fastball, even though he was throwing 99 to 100. It's kind of like a dead zone-y shape. But it's 100 from a 16-year-old. Like, it's very impressive in its own right, but like I said, kind of terrified.
Yeah. Imagine that you're just like some high schooler that just wants to play high school baseball. You know, you have to roll up to San Diego High, and you just failed the math test, and now you're just gonna go face Striker Pence throwing 99.
If you fail the math test, are you able to count to 100?
I don't know.
He can
Might
reach
not be.
100. It's like Striker doesn't even have to count. He can just reach 100 on his own.
Yeah. I just
Poor
imagine
kid.
some poor kid, he's like, I can't even get through my algebra test, and you now want me to go face this guy throwing 100? Great. Awesome.
Right? It's like, oh man, the classic joke of he's facing future auto mechanics, future counselors, future accountants, and he's just chucking 100 as a 16-year-old. Again, just all out very impressive.
Some kid, he's gonna go toe the rubber against some guy who's gonna go throw 70 in a men's league in 10 years too, probably.
For all we know, he's probably towing up and hitting 100 against guys that are going to cure cancer in like 10 years.
Yeah. Well, good for Striker Pets. Just an awesome scenario. I think it's awesome. It's exciting. Like you said, it's terrifying, but I want to say like it's good and bad for baseball at the same time, right? Because it brings attention to the game, but at the same time, you're worried about a kid's arm health.
Yep. That's exactly where I'm at. And it's like, it is fantastic for the game. And especially on the amateur side, seeing somebody make or hit this feat. But again, you mentioned it, arm health. This is like the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Body's not fully developed. I again just genuinely stress that this kid is going to need to reclass. Otherwise, he might go under a knife before he gets paid big money.
Yeah.
Like hell, if he's in this draft class right now, he's easily making $5+ million.
Oh, 100%. Like. Yeah.
If he doesn't reclass, that kind of goes out the window a bit if he does get hurt and get surgery, because medicals are used quite a bit in scouting. It's not as bad as what it was 10 years ago, where like, oh, hey, if this kid has TJ, we can't, pay him. Trying to think Brady Aiken.
Yeah.
First overall pick, had an elbow issue, and here we are. He hasn't really turned into much of anything, but again, like we'll see what happens. It's going to be a very fascinating case to follow. If he does reclass, good for him. I think that's a smart decision to make.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like on the exciting front, it's like you don't get this in the amateur scene often. Like a guy who has just this like elite stuff at a young age. Like you think about it, it's like Bryce Harper is like the last name I can think of that like drew this much attention as like a 16-year-old, right? Like no one else really has. And then like on the college scene, like Strasburg was like that big arm that everybody was raving about. So like it's not like these guys just pop up on trees. You can just grow them on trees. Like that's what makes it exciting.
These SoCal kids eat their fucking Wheaties, let me tell you.
Chocolate milk. That's what he said in an interview. That he like
yeah.
His mom was like saying that he drinks like gallons of chocolate milk a week. That's how you throw gas. Just hit it. Just drink chocolate milk.
Just make sure you're drinking like a gallon of chocolate milk a day, 7 days a week, 365. You will be throwing 100. Whether you're 16, 17, 37.
And apparently ripping like 2,700 RPMs on your breakers. So,
yeah, that too.
Want to move on to the bats. So, want to talk about the top two bats that I think is kind of consensus right now. This is the top two prep bats. Jacob Lombard versus Grady Emerson. Both were in the area code games. I think both, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but both performed pretty well. Talk about these guys, and I guess maybe the differences to their games, and kind of who do you have kind of ranked 1 and 2?
Yeah, so admittedly, Jacob Lombard was on the sheet to show up. Like, hate to say it, like 5 or 6 of the Royals guys didn't show up, and
gotcha.
They had something going on. So Lombard didn't show, but having already seen him this summer at USA, first off, fascinating question. I love that we get these questions where we get to compare guys and kind of dive into the philosophy of scouting and evaluating these guys, especially on a big board. Like, it's fantastic to me personally. But the biggest thing that stands out with Jacob Lombard is he is so toolsed up to where if he's not even an average hitter, he's going to be productive with plus power. He's a fantastic runner underway. I think it's like plus or double plus. Really, really versatile defender at shortstop. he's going to have value in other assets of the game, even if he doesn't hit like a 250 average at the big league level. Whereas Grady Emerson doesn't have the giant tools that pop like this. He's more of a consistent force. He is not to say that he's not like upside laden like Lombard is. He has upside in his own right. It's a fantastic approach, good bat the ball, but it's a different thing where it's hit over power, where Lombard's power over hit, and has everything else in the book to really help him succeed and be a valuable player on both sides of the ball. Emerson definitely doesn't have that lot of tools, but it's a well put together profile. It's a kid that, having talking to some people, it's a good makeup character, and also can play a little bit of short pretty well. And like, I understand some people have realized that Grady hasn't had the greatest summer, but I feel like what he did at Area Codes this week really kind of like made a point, and he was like spraying line drives around the field, getting consistent ABs that were really, really good, drawing walks. He wasn't chasing. It's a really solid approach. So in terms of what he is, like, it's a safer profile than what Lombard is. I would say Lombard's more volatile, but has more upside. Whereas Grady is going to be kind of like an Eli Willits, where he's more consistent. You can kind of expect something out of there, and he'll be a solid player at the major league level. And can get like 2-3 WAR, maybe higher than that, consistently every single year, like what Eli Willis is probably going to do. So for me, I'm going to have Lombard 1 and Emerson 2, and it's mainly because I think the outlying traits that Lombard has outside of the hit tool are just so loud that it's hard to ignore.
Yeah.
And there's just more upside to tap into there. If he does hit, fantastic. That's a true 5-tool player. Emerson definitely has the chance to be a 5-tool player, but not to the same level as Lombard, in my opinion. However, that's not a bad thing whatsoever. I think Emerson is going to be a consistent player moving forward who can stick at shortstop, has a great approach, and can do well. And if he comes out in spring and has more power, then like, hey, fantastic. I think the conversation becomes, what does Emerson have over Lombard to be the 1-1 or to be the number one guy in the class? But right now, just from an early valuation standpoint, I would take Lombard with the tools. We'll see how it evolves and kind of go from there. And Emerson very much could be the Eli Willis of this class, which is funny because Eli Willis would have been part of this class anyways. So, so I'm not going to say Emerson will be 1-1 like Willits was, but he is a very consistent player, very consistent, very good. Again, this is just a very good high school prep back class, in my opinion.
I love it. Yeah, and I want to get into some more of the bats that you saw at area code games. I don't want to steal the conversation, and we're going to probably pick like 3 guys that you saw that you're really impressed with, but I do want to hear about Landon Thome, Jim Thome's son.
Definitely not the same kind of like body type as what his dad is, because I was talking to a scout, Rich Morales. I believe he's with the Royals. I could be mistaken on that. But he was telling me how like Jim Thome was a JUCO guy, wasn't big when he was signed in like the 13th round, and then he turned into this big hulking like slugger that's now been in the Hall of Fame for 7 years at this point. So like Landon's kind of like that smaller frame. I think he's a second baseman. It's just the nature of the beast. Like he wasn't playing at shortstop this week. I just wonder if the arm's just not strong enough to play on that side of the diamond. We'll see what it turns into moving forward, obviously. But the thing that really stood out for me with Thome is the ease that everything kind of works for him at the plate and in the field. Like, it's very easy. He plays very well. And the swing itself is just, it's lovely. It's very, very easy. It doesn't take a lot of effort to get to the kind of tools that he has there. Took Brandon Weisner yard, and Weisner was like 2-5 with a hammer. Hit it 101 over the left field or the right field fence, which is in that ballpark very impressive because left-handed hitters are really, really like neutered in that ballpark. Just with the wind coming in and how everything's kind of structured. The sea breeze comes off the ocean in that direction, basically. So like that's the biggest thing is like it's a neutralizer for left-handed hitters. But he cut through the wind pretty easily. He had another ball that he hit on that was roughly the same kind of exit velo and distance, just didn't get out because it was to a different part of the ballpark. But he put together good at bats, looked very consistent. I think he's a top 100 pick next year, just from what I've seen this summer. Good approach. It's nothing flashy, but it's enough to where he's a high IQ player, knows how to play the game. Everything looks easy to him, and I think that's the biggest thing is how easy the swing is, how easy the juice could be. He could grow into more. We'll see what happens. So yeah, it's a fantastic kind of profile to really look into, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's a top 3 rounder next year. I really wouldn't.
I dig it. I love it. Who's the second bat for you that really impressed?
James Clark from St. John Bosco.
I was hoping you were going to talk about him.
Yeah. So I think St. John Bosco had like 3 kids here. It was him, Jaden Jackson, who's a UCLA commit, and then I think it was Julian Garcia, who just committed to UC Irvine, I think, the other day. Nice. But the biggest thing that really stood out for me for Clark is you look on paper. The biggest thing is he's a smaller guy, but man, he can play the game, and man, can he hit. The biggest thing that really stood out to me was the heavy barrel coming through the zone. You know, he separates his hips and shoulders very well, and the biggest thing is he's twitchy, he's athletic, he knows how to run. He's a very good runner on the base paths. He'll use the gas for extra bases and power. There's good bat speed. But the biggest thing that really stood out to me was the defense, and you know, you kind of look at it in a vacuum, like that kid going into the event, I was kind of questioning myself. It's like, well, he's playing third base a lot. You know, is this a guy that could be a potential shortstop? He can be a potential shortstop. It's not like loud defense. I think he could be an above average defender at shortstop moving forward. Pretty consistent, has a good glove, knows how to charge the baseball, very smart IQ player. Has the arm strength across the diamond to make plays work, has a good internal clock. Like it's a really upside laden profile in terms of everything kind of going on. And I think the biggest thing to kind of watch moving forward with Clark, I think he's a top 50 pick at this moment in time. I really do. The biggest thing to watch is his commitment. He's a Princeton commit, which very smart kid. I think both his parents are lawyers in SoCal, which, you know, that's first off very impressive in of its own right. I know law school is insanely hard, and to have 2 parents that are lawyers is really valuable, actually. So shout out to that family for just being all around incredibly smart and very nice too, from what I've heard. But yeah, I think Clark is going to be a top 50 pick. I really, really do. It was very fascinating to watch him, and I thought he was the best overall bat on that Brewers team throughout the week. It's going to be a profile to watch. Again, just got to watch it with the Princeton commit. It can get muddy there and murky with the waters in terms of signability. Not like a Stanford kind, but these kids are going to value education a lot. So, which is not a bad move whatsoever. No. I think education is very valuable in this day of age, and it's a very underrated part of evaluating and scouting now. Is how much school matters to these kids, and school is very important. Just look at me. It took me 8 years to get my degree, and I turned into something weird. So,
wow. But all right, just throw yourself under the bus right there.
I'm fine with that. But yeah, long story short, very, very fascinating profile to dive into. He's going to be a top 20 high school guy on my board when we release the board here in a few weeks.
I loved watching that video you had of him.
That swing is just very, very good.
It's nice. Who's the third guy to wrap it up for the hitters?
I want to go a different team. I will say Blake Bowen looked very good for the Brewers. He was a guy that, I had some questions on the impact coming into this. He didn't really skip a beat, which is fantastic. Built like a linebacker, pretty good run times. He's probably a right fielder at the next level, but it's big, bulking. I don't know how much more value you can get out of the body, but it's impact. There's power there. Hit the ball at 104. He's not the guy I want to talk about though.
Tyler's gonna sneak in 4. I give him 3, but he's always like, let me just toss another one in there.
I needed to talk about Blake Bowen. Okay, I needed to. If there was another guy that really stood out to me, Teagan Scott. Teagan Scott from I think it's Mount, or no, I'm thinking of Ethan Kleinschmidt from Mount Angel, Oregon. But he's a Northwest kid. And the biggest thing that stood out to me was the consistent impact throughout the week. It's a guy that's very athletic for his size. He's 5'11", 190 or 195, and he's very bulky. But man, he does not move at all like he's a bulky player. It's a very athletic kid, tons of bat speed. He knows how to hit. There's power in there. Was lacing liners at like 97 to 100 to the gaps. Very strong wrist too through the zone. I was looking back at the film, and it's very, very firm wrist, like right here. And bringing it around, it's very consistent. It's a very consistent action. I really enjoyed watching him, and I think he's a good enough catcher. But the struggle with prep catchers is they're very hard to evaluate in this day of age. So he'll get some run in the outfield, I think, and he can be a very viable right fielder, kind of like Jaden Fauske was a year ago, where he can run. There's a strong arm. I think he has a chance to stick there too. But overall, like it's the prototypical catcher size. The tools are there. It's good catch and throw. It's a strong arm. Just overall, the package was kind of really tantalizing to watch throughout the week. So had to include him. There's a reason why he got 2 videos this week on the Twitter account. But
I love it. Which will be posted soon. So be on the lookout.
So yeah, those 3 guys, Thome, Clark, and
4.
And Scott, as well as Blake Bowen.
I'm not letting you get away with that, pretending you only got 3 guys in there. Not doing it.
More content, baby. That's all that matters.
Love it. Let's move on to the pitching. And man, there was pitching. Like every video, it seemed like every guy you were tweeting about was like 95 plus, with like silly breaking stuff. So who was your favorite arm that you saw this over area codes?
Trying to think. So obviously, I already talked about Striker Pents and the just ridiculousness that was. I'm going to go with the guy that went before him, Logan Schmidt out of Ganesha High School. He is a reclass from 2027. I'm sure people are aware of that, but he's been consistently at about 91, 95 this summer rather. How about 94, 97 consistently with deception, extension, field of pitch, and a really good changeup as well. The breaker is kind of gradual. It's like an 80, 82. He'll use it to kind of change pace and kind of keep it simple, but he does need to kind of work on the field of spin a little bit moving forward. It's not powerful by any means, but there's some upside there. There's good shape. But the biggest thing was he was consistently 94, 97.
Yeah.
And that does a lot for the profile because, we're looking at it right now. It's a solid body at 6'4", 215. Granted, probably needs to kind of watch his lower half a little bit because it can. I feel like at times when you look at bodies like that, body management does become a thing, and he's pretty bulky for his age. However, that hasn't deterred the stuff, and the fact that he sat 94, 97 was really interesting for me because you're looking at the evolution of an arm that you had seen not even a month ago. That was 1 to 4. And kind of like struggling at times to get guys out, but this was pure domination. I really like the upside here. He's going to be very young for the class, uncommitted too, so we're probably going to be waiting to see where he commits to over the next couple of weeks. But overall, like it was very loud. Is probably the best way to put it. It was a very loud outing. To be able to consistently be 94, 97, guys really struggled to pick it up out of the hand with the deception that he has in his arsenal and his delivery. It's a really complete profile. And again, I'm going to keep saying it. The high school prep arms class this year, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's very good. And he's one of the guys at the top.
I love it. Who's the second arm?
Jensen Hirshkorn. NorCal kid for the Athletics. When I tell you he struck out 9 guys in 3 innings, I do mean it. It was absolutely dominant in the 8 a.m. time slot, which, you know, I've had my fair share of fun 8 a.m. arms before. I've seen Chase Petty hit 100 against Tamar Johnson at area codes when it was in Georgia a few years ago. I would wager that Hirschkorn's outing was a lot louder than what Chase Petty's was in that event.
It's crazy.
Hirschkorn was consistently 93, 96. It's downhill plane. He's 6'7", 205. Doesn't use his lower half as much as I thought he would, which is something to kind of watch as a development thing moving forward, is how it kind of works on that front with the delivery. But nobody, and I mean nobody, could see the ball out of his hand. Hides it very well. The arm swing kind of works perfectly where it goes up his spine, behind his head, and then you see it here. Like, it was very impressive to watch that. And the slider, 81, 84, drops off the table. Guys couldn't see it. He can consistently command it away. It was a very loud look for me, and he's highly projectable. Again, another uncommitted arm. Uncommitted arms were like the kind of the story of the week. But you know, just having watched that and gone, this is legit. This is very legit. I think he's undoubtedly going to be a starter long term. He gets like 6.5 feet of extension, and I feel like there's more to tap into there. Yeah. And I think this is a guy that could be throwing a lot harder in the next couple years too. Just with projection and the arm speed and everything, get him more into his lower half. I think he's a very solid player. I really do. So he's a guy that arguably probably the loudest area code pitching outing in a couple years, like that's legitimately. Awesome. Yeah. So got to shout out Hirschkorn. I feel like he's going to commit somewhere here in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully that works out. I would love to see what school he goes to, especially as a NorCal kid. Could it be Stanford? Who knows? But you know, like I said, just really, really loud. Nobody can pick it up out of the hand. So really, really impressive outing overall.
Love it. Who are we wrapping up with?
There are plenty of guys to talk about here, and I'm going to limit it to 3 because you gave me crap about Blake Bowen.
No, you have to do 4 now because you can't just leave it uneven.
Killing me, Smalls. Trying to think. There is a guy, Cooper Sides. First off, I'm not going to go in depth on him, but pitchability, really, really good stuff. Brewers team, he was 4-5 or like 93, 95 with really good slider, curveball, different shapes, good changeup, really good follow. He's an Olu kid, Orange Lutheran, and I think that team's going to be pretty stacked this year. So anybody in SoCal that wants to go see that Olu team, do it. Do it. It's going to be fun. But to go into the last one, I think I got to talk about one of the Texas guys, the Texas Coopers. And I'm going to talk about Cooper Webb because that was a really impressive outing in terms of the stuff jumping off the page. I got a comp in terms of delivery and body. It's like a toned down and more complete William Schmidt coming out of high school, who's at LSU now. And I see it moves pretty similarly. I think it's more in line than what Schmidt was, because Schmidt was kind of really raw. Both in terms of delivery and pitch shape and everything. I think Cooper Webb's going to be a starter long term, where he was up to 94, 90, 93 consistently, good shape to the fastball. He'll cut it a bit, but the real standout was the curveball. And I think on the video I posted, the second pitch, that curveball really just drops into the strike zone with significant bite. And it was consistently like that. Like, he wasn't getting a ton of whiffs with that pitch throughout the outing until the second inning, but it was really diabolical just watching the bite out of the hand and how it kind of he manipulated shape with it. Had a power changeup at 88, 89, which I would like to see some separation there personally. But the slider at 84-85 was really diabolical too. He threw like 3 straight to Anthony Delangelo, whiffed through all 3. Consistently landed in the ssame spot, same shape. Like,
sorry, Anthony.
Sorry, Anthony. Yeah, Anthony, you did good this week, by the way. Just heads up. But it was really fun to watch, and I think there's going to be more velo there. He'll be older for the class. He'll be like 19 on draft day next year. But I feel like, again, age isn't really much of a deterrent anymore. Like, I feel like some of these guys that are older, you look at it, if you don't get playing time in college, you might as well just take money out of the draft in high school. You know, it's just the way that the stage is now with NIL and the transfer portal kind of dominating. So to put it lightly, like you look at Georgia's freshman arms class they had last year. All 5 of them are at different schools now. Nate Taylor's at Vandy. Asher Sabon went to a Florida school. It was either UCF or USF.
Yeah.
A couple others went elsewhere. It's really tough to get playing time some of these days in some of these bigger programs. So
they go after the older guys in the portal, right? You want to win. Like, that's your goal. You want guys who've been there before.
Mm-hmm. And like you look at what the past couple of years have brought. Dante Nori, 19-6 on draft day, got drafted in the first round as like not an insurance plan, but it was part of the strategy to get Griffin Burkholder in the second round for the Phillies. Matthew Boughton this past year was 19-10 on draft day, got taken in the 11th round and signed for like $200,000 in the 11th round. So you look at some of this and you look like, some of these teams are going to start looking at these older guys that may not get opportunities at school that will sign for, cheap. I use air quotes because I feel like cheap is a stretched out definition in terms of valuation in baseball. But, there's going to be a conversation there moving forward where I feel like recruiting might change to where some of these guys go to mid-majors or some of these smaller schools. And then as we get closer to their draft year, they start going to the SEC, ACC, some of these guys to show what they're worth, which I think is a good route. I really do. Because you look at some of these guys like Ryan Kucherek at LSU last year, goes to Northwestern, has a breakout year, 18 home runs, looks like the shortstop for Northwestern. Just an example of what has been and could be for some of these guys. So, a little long-winded tangent on that one, but that's my thoughts on the whole recruiting thing right now, which I think is valuable to talk about in this day of age, especially with how the portal is kind of dominating the scene right now. So, we'll see what happens. But long story short, arms are good. Arms are fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. Let's move over to a conversation more about everything you've seen this summer, right? So one of the questions that we got was, who are the top 3 most impressive players that you've seen this summer?
Ooh, this is a really juicy question, actually.
Yeah. I like it.
One's going to be Lombard. I just think, like I had mentioned before, where just everything is so loud outside the hit tool. You're going to have questions if he can hit at the next level.
Yeah.
But again, plus power. There's double plus run times in there. Very good defender. He made some really tough plays at 18U national team that I was just like shocked that he was able to make. Like, it looked very, very good. So like overall, again, he's going to be one on our board for a reason, but it's open for discussion with some of these guys. Like when you talk about Grady Emerson in that evaluation question we had earlier, where it's laden with upside and you can see it now. I just have questions about the approach and the hit tool moving forward, which most of these guys do have that question mark to them for the prep side. There's a lot of like outside of hit tool upside, but then you get to the hit tool and you're like, will he hit? He's one of those guys where I'm like, it's a question mark for anybody. I think the major league average now is like 245. Yeah. He's a 250 hitter at the next level. That's a 5-tool player. That might be an MVP.
Yeah.
But you got to. It's so much in terms of development that you got to work on moving forward on that. But he's been one of the more tantalizing profiles I've seen all summer. Trying trying to think of another one. Like college wise, kind of got to talk about Rock Chalowski.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Rock Chalowski.
If anybody wanted to I was gonna say we shouldn't like tell who's gonna be number one on the board for the college side, but I think it's probably obvious at this point.
It's very obvious because
Yeah.
Rock Chalowski looks like the 1-1 favorite right now.
Yeah.
Chalowski, I've said this before on other podcasts when we were talking about draft stuff and projecting to the 2026. Chalowski might just be the most impressive amateur I've ever seen in my life.
Mm.
And I mean, I'm gonna, put my on the table here. I've seen Paul Skeens. I have seen Max Clark. I've seen Walker Jenkins. I've seen George Kirby, Adley Rutschman, all these guys that are now like impact big leaguers, are going to be impact big leaguers at some point in the future. Rock Chalowski looks every bit of a five-tool player that I've seen it, and is really advanced at this level. Because he was a guy that in high school, very small, very light, but you had question marks about the power impact moving forward. He could hit. He had a good approach. Very fantastic defender. Goes to school, adds 20 pounds of muscle, and he loses 0 or maybe like this much of athleticism.
Crazy.
He's hitting for power. It's pull side emphasis. He has the feel to hit. It's a very polished approach. And just fantastic glove at shortstop still. Makes a tough play look very easy. Like it's every bit of a 6 glove with a great throwing arm, great internal clock. Like if you're talking about grades to put on him, maybe 55-6 hit tool. Could be a 55 power guy. He's been up to 114 exit velos. When you kind of convert that to wood bat, you lose like 2 or 3 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But that's still over 110 with a wood bat. I would say probably more of an average, above average runner, but it's a 6 glove with a fantastic throwing arm.
Yeah.
You don't find prospects like that very often. And Chalowski just very much looks like the 1-1 pick right now. And I walked away very impressed with how he did it at collegiate national team trials. Now, granted, we don't talk about how he played during the Japan series. That the entire team kind of struggled a little bit, to be honest. But he did homer against somebody. I can't remember the exact name, but he hit a home run in Japan.
Yeah. Talk about jet lag.
Yeah. I can only imagine that kind of jet lag right there. Especially after flying 3 hours out to North Carolina to do trials and then have to go to Japan after.
Yeah.
That just feels like it was a nightmare scenario. But yeah, Rock Chalowski is just insanely impressive to watch in person.
Yeah. I saw him at Maryland, and it was like he didn't do a ton, but every single hit, it was hit hard. He walked a ton. Like that's part of the reason why I didn't do a ton is because he walked so much. But yeah, that kid's good, man. It's fun.
Yeah, I just not enough to describe how good that kid is. If there's a third guy to kind of talk about, and I'm going to go under the radar a little bit here, the guys that I don't feel like get their just due on the public scale right now. Vaughn Lackey, Georgia Tech.
I like that one.
First off, that Georgia Tech team might be really good next year.
Very good.
They hit the portal very hard. There's pitching there now. I feel like they're going to do very good things in the ACC next year, and that's saying like they won the ACC regular season title this year.
Top 10 team?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe preseason top 10, top 15. I wouldn't rule it out. But Vaughn Lackey, and I'm writing his report actually tonight to kind of get everything kind of into it. These kind of athletic catchers just do not grow on trees anymore.
Yeah.
Kyle Teal was the last guy that looked like a very athletic catcher and was unorthodox for his position. Vaughn Lackey is that same kind of athlete where it's really easy, really smooth. He's going to be a guy that actually steals a lot of bases for a catcher. He's had like 18 stolen bases this year for Georgia Tech. Just the defensive tools that he has. He made a play where it was kind of like a bounce ball in the dirt. It moved to his left. He runs over, grabs it, turns, throws, fires, gets the runner by 2 steps. It was accurate. It was a strong arm. I was sitting there. That was the play that made me really think about the value of these kind of catchers moving forward, where They're unorthodox for position, but oh my god, it is fantastic to watch.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be a really good defensive catcher, but also the offensive tools have been budding. Like they're kind of turning a corner. He had a breakout season after kind of splitting time with Matthew Ellis a year ago as a freshman. He finally got that full-time opportunity this year and really did a fantastic job. There's not a ton of swing and miss. There's power there. I think he's going to be a very valuable bat for that Georgia Tech team this year. He's going to be ranked very highly on the college board for us this year when we get that out. I think he's going to be top 10. I really do think he's a top 10 college player in this class. He's easy catcher one in this class personally, just with those kind of tools. And I think there's still more to tap into. I think Lackey is going to be a guy that shocks a lot of people this year if you're not already on the train.
I dig it.
I really think this kid's going to pop. I really, really do think he's going to elevate his game to another level. I was just fully in awe with what he was able to do behind the plate. Framing, he can still kind of work some things out a little bit, which is fine.
Hopefully
think at
someone
the end
can
of the
teach
day,
that, you know.
Yeah, and I think we're going to go to a place where balls and strikes are called. Yeah, like that might devalue framing a bit.
Yeah.
But that's a conversation for another day. I think Von Lackey is going to be a guy to watch next year in terms of he will be a first rounder because he is just so not Kyle Teal-esque. I think Lackey's going to create his own name for himself and not be compared to Kyle Teal or these other guys. I think he's better than what Kyle Teal was in college in terms of a defensive record behind the plate.
Yeah.
I just think the bat is going to finally turn a corner significantly this year, more than what it already did as going from freshman to sophomore year. I really do think that Von Lackey is going to be a potentially special college player in this upcoming year, both in terms of draft room talks and in terms of just college baseball evaluation as well. I think he's going to be a very valuable piece of that Georgia Tech lineup. I really do.
Nice. The next question that I was almost spaced there and forgot the question. The last question we had for you is just a couple of Helium guys shooting up boards. And I think this is kind of a hard question because like boards are just basically starting for everybody. So I think it's hard to be like, oh, this guy just increases draft stock when the boards haven't even been released yet. But who for you are just like two guys that maybe weren't on your radar that are all of a sudden just kind of rising up your boards now?
Yeah, obviously one of them was Von Lackey.
Yeah.
If there's another guy on the college side that really has kind of risen their way up for me, Logan Hughes out of Texas Tech. I haven't seen him yet personally. He was at Stetson his first year, goes to Texas Tech, and I don't think people understood just how big of an impact he had for that Red Raiders team. Granted, it wasn't a great team this past year, but they caused mayhem in the Big 12. But in terms of what the body is, he's relatively maxed out, like 5'11", 200, very Devin Taylor-esque in terms of the overall profile. Might be a corner outfielder type, left field mainly. But let me tell you, man, under the radar in terms of offensive output this year that I don't think people are talking about enough. Extremely good hard hit rate. Didn't whiff a ton. It was only like a 15% whiff rate on everything this year. Very good approach. Has budding power from the left side. Plays to both sides of the field. I don't think Logan Hughes is getting enough credit in terms of just what he was able to do at Texas Tech this past year. And, you know, again, it's hard to project on that kind of profile because he's already kind of fully maxed out. He's going to need to mash to play left field a little bit. But, again, Devin Taylor was a second rounder this past year. Logan Hughes could very much be that or maybe better in this class. Yeah. So looking at what it is, like, if he continues to match next year, I think Logan Hughes has a case to be one of the first outfielders on the college side off the board. I
love it.
And he'll be ranked within the top 20 on our college rankings whenever that comes out. But need to give shout out to him because I think what he's been able to do at Texas Tech has been, again, underappreciated, unnoticed, and he deserves to have the label of not data darling, but very underrated college guy that's going to shock people in 26. I really do think he's going to be a good player. I'm going to go to the high school side now and just talk about a couple of guys that kind of shocked me. Again, James Clark is one of them. Not a ton of guys knew about him coming into the summer. He's made a name. He's made a statement for himself. I think he's done a very good job. If there's a guy that kind of goes under the radar, Jack Dugan from Lipscomb Academy in Tennessee.
Ooh, I like that one.
He didn't play this week at area because he did BP, he did infield outfield, but I guess there was some sort of injury that we weren't aware of. But the biggest thing that stuck out to me was the athletic testing. Very good force plate testing. I think he's going to be a guy that guys underappreciate because the athletic ability is just so good. There's a lot of bat speed, quick hands. I think the swing needs some ironing out. It can get outside the body a little bit in terms of his hands. So when we mentioned the term like getting handsy with your swing, it's like the hands kind of go outside the body and it comes around. He's a guy that has that, but the impact that I've seen over the past couple months from him has been great. I think he's a good runner. There's power there. And it's a guy that can play shortstop or third base depending on how the body feels out. I think it's very much everything of like a Dax Kilby sort of deal, but maybe a bit more polished in terms of athleticism and in terms of a defensive home than what Kilby had going into last year. So Dugan's going to be a guy to watch this year. And I'll go with an arm too, because we just haven't talked about the arms at all throughout this. But if there's one guy that really kind of shocked me a little bit in terms of what they were able to do on the mound, Bryce Collins from, I think it's Kelso, Washington. He's an Ole Miss group.
Okay.
When we talk about athleticism on the mound, this is a guy that gets down the mound very, very well. He puts himself into pretty elite positions on the mound. His arm's on time. It's very athletic again. And the biggest thing was it's up to 95 already with, you know,
Crazy.
good extension. It's like 6'5", 6'6", maybe even higher than that. Curveball is a solid pitch, but he's got a diabolical splitter that guys just couldn't touch this past week. And he's a guy that I need to talk about because I thought it was very good. And that Reds team this week actually had a couple of really interesting arms too. Nice. Collins was one of them. So, you know, if there's a guy to talk about that could, you know, blow up in the Northwest over the next 12 months, I think it's Bryce Collins. I really do. So, those are my guys that kind of need to get more attention personally that we haven't already talked about. But again, just looking at it, there's a lot of upside in these guys. I really do think there is.
I dig it. I love it. Before we kind of wrap up, give us just a little college top 50 board preview here for the MLB Draft, the 2026 MLB Draft. College board will be dropping soonish in the next few weeks. Just give us a little teaser.
College bat's very good. It is probably the best way to put it. There is a lot of upside in terms of the college bats this year. I think we've already talked about it enough. Arms are interesting, actually, to talk about because obviously I think the consensus is Liam Peterson is the number one guy. Yeah, I actually have Liam Peterson at number 3 on the college arms in this class, believe it or not.
Interesting.
My 1 and 2 is Cam Flukie and Jackson Flora. Mid majors for the win. Yeah. In like Flukie, I don't think we understand how big of an improvement he showed this year under Matt Williams. He added velo, he added intent. The stuff is still good. The fastball doesn't really miss a ton of bats. And I think that's because of the fact that he's got such a steep release from up here. That kind of neutralized it a little bit. But I think he's a guy that, already throws hard. He holds mid-90s velo, has a hammered curveball that, has his warts. It's a little slow, kind of comes out of the hand with a bit of hump, but missed bats at the 50% rate this year. He still strikes with it. Has a firmer mid-A slider and a good changeup. I think it's a pretty good package in a class that, college arms aren't the greatest this year.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a guy that has certainly put himself on the map. And Jackson Flora just creates outlier shapes that is just otherworldly. Like he gets a sweeper with 20 inches of sweep consistently.
That's nuts.
At like 85. So Liam Peterson, in and of himself, like very good arm. I think he's a complete package. 6'5", 220, has the fastball cut ride, has a good breaking ball that's kind of north-south. So it's like there's value there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think these mid-major arms and Fluky and Flora have potentially louder stuff. I think Flora could have a 70 fastball with 60 breaking ball, kind of work on a kick change a little bit, kind of get some stuff there. And Fluky just looks like, you got to reward performance. And that's what he did this year. He has the most consistent arm in his class. I think Peterson has some stuff to work out with the mechanics and kind of toning it down, because there was times where he looked really, really fantastic. And then there's times where he struggled to locate the fastball and breaking balls a little bit. So command's kind of concerned there. But all of these other two, the command's been better. And that's kind of why I had them above Peterson. I will say, too, there's some interesting guys at the back end of the top 50 that deserve some praise. Andrew Williamson, Jake McCoy, Tyler Head from NC State is another guy that I'm going to reward by putting on the board. Exactly. See, got to reward the Tylers. The Tylers are fantastic. But some other guys, too, that had really good capes, like Hunter Carnes, Aiden Robbins, Teagan Coons. Teagan Coons really had a fantastic summer, and nobody talked about it.
Yeah.
Jake McCoy is another guy you can throw in there as had 3 really good starts on the Cape and just looked like a complete different animal than what he was at South Carolina, which is going to be fantastic. I think he's going to be a fascinating arm to talk about. But then even towards the end, Trey Beard, Ethan Kleinschmidt, Jack Tilly from Cincinnati. That's going to be an interesting profile. Cade Lewis, Russell Standifer at Florida now. Ryan Kucherak, who you mentioned before, is going to get rewarded to be put on the list. So excited to finally get this college board out. I'm still working on it a little bit and might make a couple more adjustments to it. But this is a very interesting college class overall, and there's some guys that were really tough cuts to take off this board. And the high school list is going to be just as tough, I feel like. So going to be interesting to see how this kind of gets reception in terms of public communities. But I really have confidence in what we've been able to kind of cook up here. I think there's going to be some guys that, will shock a couple people in the industry that I like. But I, again, trust your gut. Scouting's about being wrong. So, gotta go with the flow and trust your gut. So gonna be excited to finally put this bad boy out.
I dig it. We're going to have tons of content coming your way on the draft side, on the college side. Got some pretty big announcements coming on the college side and the draft side, so be on the lookout for those. You might notice there hasn't been a college podcast in a while. Well, college baseball season is not happening, and we have some things in the works that we're going to start rolling out over the next couple of weeks, so be ready for that. Also, got to shout out the new guys that have joined the team, Mark Garland and Sam Fosberg. Make sure to give them both a follow. They're going to be doing some college content for us, some draft content. It's going to be awesome. We're growing the team. We're going to grow the content. We just had year 1 last year, so we're ready for year 2, and it's going to be exciting. But
yeah, by the way, just one more thing to kind of finish off the show. I know we said it before with the growth of this podcast, the growth of the college and draft side of Just Baseball. Want to give a huge shout out to the fans of the show, the fans of the content.
Keep showing up. We appreciate it. It's awesome.
I don't think we expected this kind of growth this year. No. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's genuinely fascinating that, getting the growth that we did this year was a lot more than we ever expected. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for everything. Dead serious when I say this. It's very awesome that we get to do this for you guys. Yeah. And
if it wasn't for you guys, we aren't doing this. So
bingo. Exactly. I would be working day job full time as a assistant manager. So excited to have Mark and Sam on. If anybody wants to watch Sam chug beer after a South Relic home run, he does it every single one. He went yards off skiing the other day.
Yeah, had to do it.
And that Brewers team is very fun, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good squad.
Small Kings for the win on that one. Yeah, but just very excited to see what year 2 brings for us. Again, just very proud of the work that we've been able to do and the reception that we've gotten from people too. So. Glad you guys enjoy the work. I'm glad that I'm not too annoying, that Jared's not too annoying to you guys.
Oh, I am.
What'd you say?
I said I am. That's confirmed.
No, you're fine. I'm the annoying one. I'm the annoying child that everybody's going to hate here in a year.
Not at all. False.
But but yeah, it's just been a blast. So again, thank you guys for doing everything possible to help us grow, and you're going to be rewarded with quite a few fun things over the off season. So
Yeah,
stay
we're
tuned.
ready for it.
Yeah.
Until next time, though, we'll see you.